Starting with DriveX, yeah, it's kind of a mess. The damage physics are super questionable. Sometimes you crash, and instead of seeing realistic dents or smashed parts, you get this weird glitchy reaction. Like the car just spazzes out or barely shows any impact at all. It's frustrating because the car models themselves, they actually look great. The detail is solid. But once you start pushing the cars to their limits, the flaws start showing fast. Crashes feel unresponsive or just off. And don't even get me started on how the game starts to lag during high-speed collisions. It's like the physics engine just gives up. The biggest issue here is optimization. The physics aren't well polished, so you never get that satisfying, realistic crash you're hoping for. Instead, it's like the game is struggling to decide what should happen. All in all, DriveX has potential, but when it comes to delivering clean, believable crash physics, it really drops the ball. Now let's talk about Flexi CX, because when it comes to crash physics, this game really knows how to deliver. Flexi CX has way more potential in this area, and honestly, the difference is like night and day. The crashes are incredibly satisfying. And no, I'm not being biased. The results speak for themselves. Every collision feels impactful, and you can actually see the damage happening in real time, piece by piece. What makes Flexi CX stand out is how polished the system is. Each part of the vehicle reacts independently. Doors, bumpers, hoods, they all crumple and deform based on where you hit. It's not just random damage, it's dynamic and detailed. I still remember the first time I played it. I was legit amazed. I couldn't keep it to myself, so I showed my friends, and they were just as blown away. I spent hours just crashing cars and surprised at how realistic everything looked. Flexi CX isn't perfect, but when it comes to crash physics, it's in a whole different league. And that's the beauty of Flexi CX. It's not just fun, it's impressive. The fact that every crash feels unique, every part reacts realistically, and there's barely any lag, that's something DriveX still struggles with. Even after hours of playing, I still find myself saying, wow, that looked real. It's just on another level. If you're all about detailed damage and clean performance, Flexi CX is definitely where it's at. Now let's move on to the fun part, because if there's one thing DriveX really nailed, it's the entertainment. DriveX gives you all sorts of freedom to explore and mess around. You can drive through muddy parts of the map, splash through water, and test your vehicle on all kinds of off-road terrain. It honestly feels like the developers wanted you to try everything, and that's part of what makes it enjoyable. And it doesn't stop there. For some wild reason, you can even drive certain vehicles underwater. I still don't know if that was intentional or just a hilarious bug, but hey, it's part of the experience. There are also quests scattered all over the map that you can engage with, although I'll admit I'm pretty bad at those. Still fun though, and the map design? Props to the team. There are some really challenging paths and routes that show how much effort and detail went into the world building. You even get these mini-game scenarios from the menu, like a wipeout mode where you have to dodge moving obstacles or risk getting flung off the track, like I did here. And don't forget the rockfall event. You're speeding down a hill while massive rocks come crashing down. But for some reason, a glitch makes all the rocks just fly over you. It's weird, but also kind of hilarious. There's so much packed in, like the creepy cave in the desert map or the train tracks running through the New York area. The game really gave us a playground full of fun options to mess around with. Unfortunately, it all kind of died down pretty fast. A lot of maps are super laggy, and the fans who came for crash physics didn't really get what they were hoping for. Still, not gonna lie, I had a blast playing DriveX, and I think a lot of others did too. Now let's talk about the handling, because this is another area where both games bring something different to the table. Starting with DriveX, I gotta give it credit. The handling is actually really solid, especially when it comes to suspension physics. There's even a system in the game that visually shows how the suspension works in real time, which is super cool to watch. It's not perfect, but it's satisfying. Every bump, every dip, it reacts in a way that makes driving feel immersive. Each vehicle also has its own unique handling. Two-wheeled vehicles? They'll spin out if you push them too hard. Four-wheeled vehicles? Way more stable, especially on rough terrain and asphalt. Now on to Flexi CX. The handling here takes a different route. It leans heavily into detail. The way the tires react to bumps, the weight transfer when you turn or brake, everything feels more refined. The suspension is also really well done. Maybe not as flashy as DriveX, but you can still notice the physics at play as you drive over uneven roads. And just like DriveX, every vehicle handles differently, but I'd say Flexi CX takes it a step further. Two-wheeled vehicles may have less grip, but they're still controllable, and you can even upgrade them to fine-tune performance. The heavier vehicles, they behave just like you'd expect in real life. If you push them too hard, they might roll over. And that's when the crash physics really shine. Plus, Flexi CX actually reflects vehicle size and weight in how fast each one goes. Unlike DriveX, where pretty much every car hits 298 kilometers per hour, which is kind of unrealistic. And that's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed watching, consider dropping a like. It really helps boost the video in the algorithm. And hey, if you're new and you love gaming content like this, feel free to subscribe. No pressure though. Thanks so much for watching, and remember this above all, Jesus loves you.